Hey there, Boss Rebellers. This is Patty Dominguez here, just wanting to share with you how to charge for your consulting services. It's a whole process that I went through when I first went boss free. Still doing some consulting now in select instances, but I was just so confused with this whole process. And so I thought this would be really helpful for those of you that are going the consulting route and figuring out how much to charge for your consulting services. And the question is that comes up. I mean, I have friends that are consultants, and and as I said, I've been a consultant myself, and just not really sure how much to charge and if you're charging enough, because at the end you have some expectations to what you want your salary to be, and when you don't hit it, it's pretty disheartening, right? And it all starts with making sure that you're charging enough and having the right amount of clients, etc. So this is intended to just show you a very simple three-step formula that I came up with, and hopefully it helps you in this process of your consulting practice and what you're going to be charging for what you know and the expertise that you bring. So part one of the formula is really what you want to do. The first thing is you want to figure out, okay, how much do I want for salary, right? What is that one number? And if you just have that vision as to what it is you want to make sure it says on your income tax forms, right? Let's just use for this example, $200,000 a year. You can make that number obviously anything you want it to be, but just for simple math, let's do $200,000 a year. Then what you want to do is figure out how many days in the year you're available to work, right? So I'm using 260 days to work in this particular instance because 260 days is going to take into account 365 days in the calendar year, but we're minusing the weekends and holidays. So I'm using 260 days for work that you'd be available if you were just a regular consultant working the max amount of days that you can. So now what you want to do is you're going to figure out your base rate formula. So you're going to take that salary, which is $200,000, divided by 260, which is 260 days, right? That we did in the previous slide. So with that division, the result is $769 per day. That's what your base rate formula is. That's your daily rate. But just wait, because there's more. This is only part one. There's a couple of more things that we have to make sure to include in here. So the second part of it, or part two, is you want to calculate what your overhead is. This is really important. A lot of people miss this step just in general. But overhead, as you may already know, is really any expenses that you pay out to run your business. Anything that helps you run your business is the easiest way to look at it. So your rent, administrative help, your phone fees, office supplies, anything like insurance, equipment, etc., what it takes to run your business. So for example, and just again for simple math, we're going to use that you're spending $10,000 a month in expenses, okay? And that's $120,000 a year. So 10,000 times 12 is 120,000 per year. So now you're going to divide that 120,000 divided by, again, we're using that number of 260, which is the days of work, right? So that comes out to 461.50, as you can see there in the red. So that's really important too. Again, this is only part two. We have one more to go, home stretch. So now part three is you want to calculate your profit margin. And according to Mooney's, which is a finance resource, profit margins are anywhere between 15% to 25% of your total expenses. So let's say for this sake, and this is the number that I use, 25%. So in the previous slide, you saw that the daily amount of your overhead is $461.50, right? So what you're going to do is take 25% of that. So 25% of $461.50 equals $115.38. Okay, so let's keep that number in mind. And now we're going to put it all together. So as you can see here in the summary, the daily rate we first calculated in part one was $769. The second is $461 a day for your overhead. And then the third part was $115.38 per day for your profit margin. So that means that your daily rate should be $1,345.38. Just, we could bring it up to $1,400, round up. So your hourly rate then should be $135 an hour. in order to meet that salary that you're looking to bring home. So with that, in that simple formula, now you know, and you want to be asking yourself definitely, are you charging enough? Because you're definitely worth it. And the expertise that you bring to the table is something that an ideal prospective client is looking for. So don't short sell yourself. Definitely don't do that. Make sure you're charging enough. And again, with the simple formula, this should be easy peasy. So there you have it, Boss Free Society. Patty Dominguez here. I hope this was helpful. Take care.